Good morning, everybody. Sam here. Sorry if I'm sketching out a little bit. I don't know what's going on there. That looks a bit weird. That looks a bit odd. Hopefully it's working okay. My internet is working fine. There should be no reason why anything goes wrong this morning. But you never know. It's the internet, so things can go wrong. But welcome to United People's TV. It's Wednesday morning. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a hell of a packed show. We've got to talk about Camavinga. We've got to talk about Neves. We've got to talk about Niguez. We've got to talk about Manchester United's desire, genuine desire, to sign a defensive midfielder or a central midfielder, in the next 7 days. We've got to talk about Mbappe to Real Madrid and why that could be important for Manchester United, because it could call into question the future of Paul Pogba again this summer. Ronaldo to City, that's getting bandied about. What about Van der Beek? His agent has been speaking about his future at Manchester United. Honestly, there's less than a week left in this transfer window, but there is so much that could still happen for Manchester United. And the one thing that we all want to see, and we all know we need, is that new central midfielder. And that's going to be the focus of today's video. Going to be looking at an article from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic this morning, and also discussing everything that's happened in the last 24, 48 hours in regards to Saul Niguez, which, let's be honest, it's accelerated out of nowhere. But as always, throughout the entire show, you let me know where you're watching from in the comments. I'll try and give you shout outs. You leave your comments, fire in your super chats. And I can see there's plenty of members of the UPTV family who are down here in the comments. We've got Victor and Mule down there. Chris, good morning to you, mate. Anuj, good morning to you as well. And then we've got plenty of other faces. Robin Williams, you're watching on Facebook from South Africa. Good morning to you. My friend, we've got Abdul watching from Nigeria. We've got Murphy watching from Malaysia. Lots of you joining in, and lots of you will continue to join in throughout the entire show. So make sure you drop a like on the video. Make sure to fire in your questions that you have for me. But let's talk about the three men that most interest Manchester United right now. And that is Saul Niguez, that is Ruben Neves, and that is Eduardo Camavinga. Now, will Manchester United be signing one? As I've said with the title of this video and the thumbnail, Solskjaer wants all three of them. Would be fantastic signings for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We're not going to get all three of them. That would be, it would be great if you did. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants a defensive midfield signing. That's something that I suppose we've all known. I mean, it will be verging on negligence and ignorance if Manchester United didn't want to sign a defensive midfielder, and we didn't need that 1-1 draw against Southampton at the weekend to identify that. But what is actually going on? I'm going to run through this article from Laurie. I'll go a bit full screen here. Why not? You don't need my face ruining it, because it's important. It says that a defensive midfielder is high on Manchester United's shopping list, whatever you want to call it. But they may have to wait until January. Now, let's not get too frustrated just yet. Anyway, well, we can wait a little bit for that. Let me head down and read the article with you. It says, it goes on, it talks about here, it says, the transfer window closes on the 31st of August. And several sources say United's business is done unless sales can be made. As matters stand, the likelihood of outgoings is low. Now, why is this an important snippet from Laurie? It's because Laurie works with The Athletic. He works close to Manchester United. So his sources are going to be coming from the club. So this is going to be the word coming out of Manchester United here. This isn't Fabrizio Romano. I'm not sure where his sources come from, apart from bloody everywhere. But the word coming out of United is that the business is done unless sales can be made. Now, the thing that kind of pissed me off yesterday, you see Chelsea and West Ham are doing a deal for 30 million euros roughly for Kurt Zouma. What's a West Ham? You've got that amount of money to spend on a defender, but you can't spend that amount of money on a player like Jesse Lingard, who came in and effectively became your player of the season within 6 months. Odd. They've got the money. They just don't want to spend that much on Jesse Lingard, simply because I believe his contract runs out next summer. Heading back to the article here, this is where it gets interesting. This is where we need to have a conversation and debate. All that said, Saul Niguez remains a possibility for United. He is on a list of targets, and a crucial factor is Atletico Madrid being open to an initial loan. So the immediate cost could be manageable without the need to bring cash in from outgoings. And this is something I said yesterday. It's something I maintained the entire way through, and it's something I'll say again now. I don't think Man United would be really that interested in Saul Niguez if he wasn't available on a loan deal first. Because, like with Rafael Varane, we got him for, was it 32 million spread over 4 years? Like Jadon Sancho, we got him for 72 million, but again, spread over 4 years. So in terms of the initial outlay, that's 8 from Varane. That's what? 16 from Sancho. So according to our books this summer, it's 24 million. 24 million. I think we've got enough to sign a central midfielder. We should have enough right here. If we sell Jesse Lingard, we should have enough to go out and buy Neves or Camavinga and bring Niguez in on loan. But it won't happen. But money should not be an issue here for United. And I fear that Manchester United's owners, the Glazers, are reverting to character here. And it's not because we're sporting. Fans of other clubs, they just piss me off when they say this. And they are from the outside looking in when they don't really understand the frustrations. But United have gone out and signed one of the best right wingers in the world and the best centre-back in the world. And we've done that because we have the ambition as a football club of winning the biggest trophies. And you can only do that in the modern game unless if you spend. If you don't spend, you just sit there and watch your rivals like Lukaku spend 100 million on a striker they sold previously and a ridiculous amount over the last 2-3 years. And they've won the Champions League. It's modern football. To win the biggest trophies, you have to spend a lot of money. But Man United now, we're reverting to character after signing Sancho and Varane. Executives have known for months that Saul is available this summer, but meaningful talks are yet to progress, with United taking a cautious approach in the market. There is anticipation among some insiders that the situation could develop quickly. As Atletico are keen to get his wages off the books, Chelsea have also been credited with an interest. Look, let me know what you think about this whole Saul Niguez situation in the comments. I'll read them out because I'm really interested to know exactly where you stand. Do you see him as a completely different type of midfielder to Neves? Do you see him as a similar sort of midfielder to maybe Donny van der Beek, which we will be talking about later in the show? So don't worry about it. I might even do a separate video on Donny van der Beek later on today. But for right now, the focus here is on Camavinga, who is available on a free transfer next year, and Rennes need to sell if they want to get money this summer. Then you've got Saul Niguez, who's available on loan, and Atletico want to get him off the books with the wages. And then you've got Ruben Neves, who's always been available for 30 to 40 million all summer long. Josh, you're there in the comments. Good morning, Josh. You're saying pretty sure Inter owe United like 45 million. Yes, they do, but I don't know what the spread of that payment is. And it's unlikely we're going to get that this summer, even though the fact that I think we got a 5% sell on, I believe. So I think we may have got like roughly 5 million for Lukaku in terms of from Inter this summer after he joined Chelsea. But we're not going to get that 40 odd million, not just yet. Mark Barlow on Facebook, you think we're all done? I hope you're wrong, Mark. I really genuinely hope you're wrong. But from everything we're seeing and all the noise, I mean, the noise came out yesterday. It came from Fabrizio Romano that Saul was going to be leaving Atletico Madrid, and it left it as a two-horse race between Chelsea and Manchester United. But Man United, look, as it says here, executives have known for months that Saul is available this summer. So this has only just developed. And again, this is something I said a while ago. I said that Manchester, and I'll still maintain it, and I hope I don't end up with egg on my face, but I think Manchester United will sign one more player this summer. I think it will be a midfielder. And I expected it to go late in the window. I expected after we signed Varane and after we signed Sancho, I expected United to take a sort of back seat and wait for players to leave the club. But a lot of players have left the club. Sure, we haven't sold Jesse Lingard to West Ham, which is the ideal situation because that's 30 million. That basically covers us signing a central midfielder. Brandon Williams has gone to Norwich on loan. Axel Tuanzebe has gone to Aston Villa on loan. Dishon Bernard has gone to Hull. James Garner has gone to Nottingham Forest. Andreas Pereira has gone to Flamengo. There's 4 or 5 players, fringe players at Manchester United who are off the books now. And I'm guessing we're paying some of the wages for Andreas Pereira, or Flamengo wouldn't have been able to afford him. But it's not as if United haven't got rid of anybody this summer. We haven't really been selling. Yes. And Jesse Lingard is the ideal situation, which, again, I find it odd. I find it odd that, I mean, I don't find it odd. Obviously, it means that West Ham value signing Kurt Zouma more than they value signing Jesse Lingard for that amount of money. I disagree with it, but that's because I want it to happen. Speaking about Camavinga here, going down and reading a bit more about Laurie's article, says Camavinga has less than 12 months left on his contract and will either leave this summer for a reduced fee or for free next year. PSG are also interested, but the sources believe he has a preference of moving to Spain. And that's kind of always been maintained about Camavinga throughout the entire summer, that maybe he prefers a move to Spain. And given that Mbappe might be going to Real Madrid, maybe that's the place he's going to be going. Britesh, how you doing this morning? Saying, hey, how you doing? Joining after a long, long time. Heard that PSG are more closer to signing Camavinga than we are. What's the update on that? You just had the update on that. Imagine that. I wouldn't be surprised if Camavinga waited out his time. But at the same time, Rennes as a football club, Camavinga is their player. And they do not want to lose him for a free. So United should just be testing the waters right there. If you went in right now, if we went to Rennes and we went in with a 20, 25, an undercut bid, 20, 25 million for Camavinga, you'd force them to have a conversation, because it's either they sell him now for as much as they could get for him, sell him in January for a reduced fee, or lose him for a free next summer. They won't want to do that. Therefore, going in with a bid for Camavinga would be smart at this point. Absolutely smart. Couple of comments here, firing in. And if you really want to ask me questions, keep firing in your super chats. I always answer them. Thomas, how you doing, man? Member of the gang. Matic out, Saul in, both left foot, and get Neves. Matic is going nowhere. Certainly not this summer, because he's a pure screening midfielder, and therefore Solskjaer is going to keep him at the club. And the fact that he played him against Southampton goes to show that he's probably going to play a bigger role than I think any of us give him credit for this year. Abby, you're saying, what about 15 million plus Lingard for Neves or Saul? Would be good for the club and player. With Lingard, it's all very strange for me. Manchester United haven't really been... We've been willing and open to sell Lingard all summer, but there hasn't really been any movement from West Ham too much, because they don't want to pay the money, and we haven't really been pushing Lingard anywhere else. So it really seems like Lingard's probably going to stay at the club. I hope that's wrong. For Lingard, I hope that's wrong. He's got no chance of getting in the World Cup squad next year unless he plays regular first team football. And West Ham, as they've shown, they're pumping Leicester 4-1. Obviously, Leicester went down to 10 men, but Lingard will want to play in that West Ham team this year, and he deserves it as well. Richmond, how you doing, my friend? If we can sell Lingard and Neves in our midfield, I'll be very positive. And sorry, let me start that one again. If we can sell Lingard and get Neves in our midfield, I'll be very positive about the season. I can't take another season of Fred, Matic, and McSauce. Look, man, we all know where the deficiencies are in this squad. It's very obvious. It's very painful. And if you go here again, this really is an excellent article. I do appreciate The Athletic. And as I said, I'm not sponsored by them. I just appreciate the content that they create. And they really kind of show... They basically show the deficiencies that you play when you have Matic in your team, and the spaces that he occupies and the spaces that Fred and Matic eventually occupy together. They're very similar. Therefore they squeeze the game out. And when you play McTominay and Fred, it's a little bit better, but you're still playing McTominay and Fred, and therefore you still have a weakness in your team. And I've said this for quite a while now, watching Manchester United in this summer transfer window. It doesn't seem like we've ever really been after a defensive midfielder. It seems that Manchester United's priority this summer was always going to be a central midfielder, sticking with the two players in the double pivot, but instead of having a pure number 6, somebody who just operates as a specialist. I mean, Mourinho's favourite word was a specialist. Signing someone like Ndidi would be a specialist in a defensive midfield role. Signing someone like Niguez or Neves, neither of them are specialists, but they're both excellent central midfielders who can do a bit of defending and a bit of attacking and a bit of shooting and a bit of everything. They're not 10 out of 10 in any aspect, but they're 6 or 7 out of 10 in all aspects. And the weaknesses in their game are nowhere near the same sort of weaknesses that Ndidi would have in the non-defensive side of his game. And we head down to the comments here. One from Anuj saying, how much money have we got from loan players? Around 10 to 15. Then sell Lingard for 20 to 30, 20 to 25 and buy Neves with that fee. I don't know if it is that simple. Look, on paper, it's always that simple, isn't it, Anuj? And this is the issue that we've had with Manchester United as fans. It is dead simple. Get rid of Pereira. Get rid of Lingard. reinvest that money in someone like Neves, bring in Varane and Sancho, which we've already done. But in reality, it's never that simple with Manchester United. I always knew it was going to be complicated with a midfielder. I always knew it because I said this earlier I said it earlier in the summer. Signing Varane, top target. It's the main centre back. As a transfer, it's not really affected by anything else that's going on at the club. And the same can go for Jadon Sancho. Although maybe you could have said Dan James's future was a little bit tied in that, but I still think they're very separate. With a central midfielder, Manchester United have had question marks all summer long about Paul Pogba. And that has had an impact and reflected on everything that's happened with our pursuit of a central midfielder. Just like right now, I think that we could be getting into a massive, massive merry-go-round. And that all depends on what happens with Kylian Mbappe. Last night, stories broke that Real Madrid had bid, and that's insane, £137 million to PSG to sign Mbappe this summer. And they've rejected it. That is a lot. I mean, obviously, he did join PSG for more than that, but his contract expires next summer. So Real Madrid there offering 137 million for a player who's out of contract next summer. There's absolutely no chance that Mbappe's coming anywhere near the Premier League. It's Real Madrid he's going to. Why does that affect Manchester United? Because at this point, you're seeing, imagine all transfers as a Venn diagram, just loads of circles all overlapping each other. That's kind of what the situation is now. If you put Mbappe in the middle, Mbappe's future might mean that PSG right now towards the end of the summer transfer window get 150 million plus. What are they going to go and do with that? They might come after Paul Pogba again. Therefore, what happens there with Paul Pogba? Maybe they'll go for Camavinga, who will be available for a relatively cheap amount of money, but PSG don't care about cheap. PSG care about what they want. So therefore, Mbappe's future might be tied into Manchester United's pursuit of Camavinga or Paul Pogba's future at Manchester United. They're all interweaving, and that is why it's complicated. And that is why no one's got any idea what's going to happen in the next week or so. Niguez, he's available. I don't really know why Manchester United haven't gone after him in the last 48 hours if we're really interested in him and he's high on our list. As we can see here in the article from Laurie, he said, look, he's been on a list for a while. Executives have known about him for months. It's a bit like when we had Edinson Cavani last summer. He was available all summer. When did we sign him? On transfer deadline day as a free agent. The free agent that was still a free agent a couple of months before. Manchester United are waiting patiently. I think basically what Man United are doing right now, Man United are playing a game of poker. And it's frustrating to watch as Manchester United fans, but we are sitting there banking on being in a stronger position to negotiate with 3 or 4 days left in the transfer window than we are right now. That is what I think Manchester United are doing. That's what it strikes me as Manchester United are doing. Because if we really wanted to go out and get Niguez, it would have been simple enough. Go in there, pay the wages. He comes in on a loan fee. No massive outlay. Sure, he's on between 200 and 300 grand a week, but it's Saul Niguez. He's a top level central midfielder who's got Champions League elite level experience. Of course, he's going to command big wages. But Man United haven't gone in for that, even though the fact that he's available on a loan. Man United haven't gone in for Camavinga, even though he's a free agent next summer and there's only a week left in the transfer window. Man United are playing a game of poker. It's painful to watch, but it doesn't mean that nothing's going to happen. It just means that nothing's happened yet anyway. A couple of comments coming in here. Imran, you're saying why we think of selling Lingard rather than selling or loaning Martial, selling Matic, Lee, James, Fred, and Neves, and get Neves, Camavinga, or Niguez. Man, so many names you keep firing in comments. You keep making me lose my words. There's no chance that Martial's going anywhere this summer because Marcus Rashford is injured. Simple, that one. Selling Lingard, we all agree that selling Lingard would be a good idea. A smart idea for Manchester United and a smart idea for Jesse Lingard. That hasn't happened. Dan James, same situation as Martial with Rashford. Lee Grant, I've told you, I think he's a painter decorator. I have no idea what he does at Manchester United anymore, but he shouldn't be there. Fred, again, not being sold this summer. It's obvious that we're not selling him this summer. Matic, again, not being sold this summer. Manchester United's defense now and Manchester United's attack is so littered with quality that is highlighting the problems that we've got in midfield massively. And the last thing we're going to do is sell more of those midfielders. Not this summer anyway. We need to replace it. That's where the investment needs to go. And that can happen in the next 7 days. But United are just playing a bit of a dangerous game because Chelsea can go in now and get Niguez before it's basically whoever goes first between Chelsea and United for Saul Niguez. He'd be happy to join both of them. Of course, he'd be happy to join Chelsea, just won the Champions League. Of course, he'd be happy to join United. Look at the players and the quality that we've got throughout our entire team. He'd be happy with either. It's whoever goes first. And United might find out that waiting a little bit too long means we miss out on Niguez. Nathan Pitt joined UPTV Legend yesterday. Got here late. Big up to you for joining, Nathan. And if anybody else wants to join Nathan and get involved, as you can see, I like to think it's an excellent debate that we have here every morning. I look at your opinions. I take your opinions on board. I don't just dismiss them. And it's interactive. If you'd like to support the channel, drop a like on the video. Maybe share it if you're watching it on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, maybe you can fire in a super chat. Or even better, join as a member of the UPTV family. Hit the join button down below. There's 3 different tiers. One is cheaper than the price of a pint. And anything that comes in is getting reinvested back into the channel to make it bigger and better. That's what I'm always going to do. Akshay, how you doing, my friend? So, what is your comment on midfielders? For a midfielder, Saul or Neves, Van der Beek has to go because he's not starting. I'd rather start Van der Beek with McTominay. He is the better Ajax passer with the link to Sancho, Bruno Fernandes, and Paul Pogba. Neves is good at holding, so it'll be ideal if not Van der Beek. Now, look, with Van der Beek, I'll speak about Van der Beek in a little bit, but it's obvious that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't see him as one of those 2 holding midfielders. He sees Donny van der Beek as a backup to Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba as a more attack-minded central midfielder. That's why we haven't seen him there. Whether or not you agree with that, it's obvious at this stage that is what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer thinks about Donny van der Beek. But hell, come on, let's talk about Donny van der Beek now because his agent has been speaking. And these quotes are interesting. Guido Alves, wicked name, by the way, Guido. This is what he said. He said about everyone within the club knows that Donny cannot have another season like last year. The most important thing is that the trainer, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has provided clarity to the English press. We are happy with that. And I assume that Donny will play a lot in one of the positions in midfield in the coming period. You let me know what you think about Van der Beek in the comments below. I might do a separate video on Donny van der Beek, the curious case of Van der Beek, I think I might call it, because I want to look into it a little bit more. It's weird. It's really weird. It's like when Zaha wasn't playing under Moyes and everyone thought that he was shagging his daughter. Well, that was a rumor that was going around anyway. I find this whole Van der Beek situation a bit weird now because it's obvious he could come into that midfield and do an excellent job. I don't know. He's played in central midfield for Ajax. He's very good at one-two touches, quick passing, quick movement, excellent with possession. There's a lot of strengths to Donny van der Beek's game that I think could come in and improve our midfield in areas where we just can't be improved. Like Matic might be better at screening, but he's nowhere near as good in possession with as Donny van der Beek is. And something that we need is 2 midfielders who can resist the press, who, when we're getting pressed, have the ability to do the little round the corner passes, have the confidence to find their teammates rather than shitting themselves, turning back, kicking it to De Gea, and watching him smacking it long. Fred does that quite a bit. Matic does it a lot. And McTominay, when he's not being pressed, McTominay has an excellent passing range. When McTominay is being pressed, he doesn't have the confidence and the ability to do those same sorts of passes. That's a big thing that separates a good midfielder from a great midfielder, is their ability when they've got players rushing at them. Let's see what you think about Donny van der Beek in the comments here. Glenn, you're saying, isn't Donny's case like Shinji Kagawa? Sorry. I'm still a little bit ill. Man, I'm getting way too old for this drinking malarkey, seriously. Is Donny's case like Shinji Kagawa? No, I don't think it is. Shinji, I think, was a bit unfortunate. Fergie signed him as Rooney's replacement, in my opinion, and then Rooney ended up staying at the club. Therefore, there wasn't really a position for Shinji in the team. And then Shinji is really unfortunate. Aaron, what are you saying? You're saying if Ole doesn't play Van der Beek more in the next few months, United should sell him in January. Look, yeah, if you're not going to play Donny van der Beek, sell him. I absolutely maintain that the only reason we signed Donny van de Beek was because it was an opportunity. It was a chance to get a player who is clearly valued more than what he was being sold for. And therefore, Manchester United were like, yeah, go on in. We'll have a bit of that. No real intention of playing him, clearly. And that pisses me off. Propaganda, how you doing, my friend? Ollie will use Van der Beek. Ollie will use Van der Beek used for rotation for Pogba and Bruno so they don't get burnt out like Bruno did last year. Let's see what goes on then. Let's see when we got the League Cup games coming up probably quite soon. Will we see Donny van der Beek starting there, or will we see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer revert to character and start all the first team at the same time? Takeoff, you're saying, I don't think we'll see the best of Van der Beek unless Pogba leaves. I said that, if Pogba did leave, I think Van der Beek wouldn't have been a replacement. You can't replace a player like Paul Pogba, but he would have been an excellent player to come in and try and fill his shoes and at least do part of what Paul Pogba did. More comments here flying in. Honestly, keep firing in the comments, ladies and gents. I love your comments. Ole uses VDB as a CAM, and we have Bruno and Pogba ahead of him. Pogba hasn't dedicated himself to United this summer. He should play over Pogba against smaller teams. There you go. Oh, hold up here. I hope that's you, Ben. And I hope that is you commenting. Big up Ben Foster, by the way. Big up all the cycling GK, as he's known. Howdy, geez. Crazy how your club is going to add to the midfield. I got myself a clean sheet yesterday, and you guys haven't kept one yet. Need to prioritize the lads at the back. Ben, I'd love to have you on the channel, my friend. Maybe we should. What's your email? Or maybe slide into my DMs. I'd love to have a chat with you. Cracking what you're doing. I'm enjoying your content on your channel, and big up to you. But yeah, you're right. It is crazy that Manchester United just aren't looking at the midfield. And it's because we've made such great investments in the defense over the last few years. We've got Luke Shaw, who's come through now and proven himself as a top-level left-back. We've got now Maguire and Varane as our two centre-backs. We've got Wan-Bissaka as our right-back. We've got De Gea and Henderson as our goalkeeping options. And then we've got Bruno Fernandes in our attack with Marcus Rashford, with Jadon Sancho, with Anthony Martial, with Mason Greenwood, with Edinson Cavani. And then you've got a midfield which has a 33-year-old Nemanja Matic who is past his best. He was great at one point, but right now he's not that player anymore. And then you've got Scott McTominay, who is an excellent academy product, but for me strikes me as a player who's going to be at Manchester United, for a long time as a squad member. But I don't know. I'm permanently unfair about Scott McTominay. But then you got Fred, and then Manchester United's midfield compared to our defense and our attack, it's ridiculous by comparison. It is ridiculous by comparison. That's why the investment has to go in there. There's a few more of your comments and your super chats you're firing in here, so I'm going to read all of those out. Christian, how you doing, my friend? Nice to see you this morning. Saul is the same player as Van der Beek. United need to buy a CDM like Neves so that it can play Pogba further up the pitch next to Bruno. Christian, is what I've said. I've maintained the last couple of weeks now. I don't think United were ever really properly in for a central defensive midfielder this summer. I think that we were only ever after central midfielders, people who can play and operate across pretty much every single role in midfield. I don't think we're looking for, and we don't think we ever were looking for, a defensive midfield specialist. Another comment here coming in from Abby saying VDB is being respected a lot. Easily gets in the team ahead of Fred or Matic with McTominay. Should be good. There is a reason. Whatever this reason is, there is a reason why Donny van der Beek is being left out by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I don't know what it is, because it's not because Fred is an incredible footballer. Because Fred, again, like we saw against Southampton, I forgot who we played there. Look, there's two games. As I said, that 5-1 against Leeds was never really going to be a game where Manchester United's midfield massively got tested, because we know what Leeds are going to do. They're just going to run at you, leave spaces in behind, pour again from Bielsa, pour again from Leeds. They got pumped 5-1. Fred scored. Those sorts of games, you're going to get a good performance out of Fred. These sorts of games against Southampton, where you really have to be disciplined with shape, keep the ball moving, recycling, and actually operate as a central midfielder rather than somebody who just loves going forward and has a natural Brazilian flair to his game and style. That's what Fred has. That's why he never really works in this sort of double pivot properly. And that's why he's always so frustrating to watch. So frustrating to watch. Let me head back down to the comments here saying, look, Bazzy's saying we're preparing for Pogba leaving. Look, man, if Mbappe, it's what I said there. Look, if this happens, ladies and gents, there really is every chance that Paul Pogba leaves this summer. I would stand by that. I really didn't think that he would leave, but I also didn't think that Mbappe would go to Real Madrid, who apparently was skint and now have found 137 million pounds down the back of their sofa. Wish I could find 137 million down the back of my sofa. Let me go down to the comments here. Keep firing them in, ladies and gents. Firing your comments, firing your questions, firing your super chats. It's interactive, and I'll run through the news again. The news again is coming from the last couple of days, and it's just us having a nice conversation about it. A lovely conversation, isn't that nice? But look, United want a defensive midfielder. Niguez is on that list. Neves is on that list. And I'll be honest, Neves is probably bottom of that list. Neves, it's kind of gone a bit quiet with him. It's always been a bit quiet with him. I don't know why. I really don't know why, but it has been. Camavinga, we know what price he is, but United, again, I think we're playing a game of poker and seeing if we can get Camavinga for cheaper towards the end of the window than right now. I think there's a chance we still go in for Camavinga. So they're all available. They're all options, but Manchester United are not really going to do anything unless we sell Jesse Lingard, which makes no sense whatsoever. And that frustrates me. Alien Tenno, would Zidane or Conte manage his squad better? A lovely hypothetical question there that I can't really answer because I've got absolutely no idea. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for me, cool. You're seeing his deficiencies. We saw his deficiencies against Southampton, but we saw the deficiencies in our midfield against Southampton. So it's a bit of a chicken and the egg. But at the same time, Solskjaer's making some poor midfield choices that I think he could have improved on. Against Southampton, would I have started Matic and Fred in midfield? No, but at the same time, McTominay had a knock. So I kind of understood why he went for Matic. But that same game, I definitely would have taken Fred off and put Van der Beek on. It wasn't working with Fred. So why stick with it? When you've got someone like Van der Beek on the bench, what's the worst that can happen? As Dr. Pepper once said, well, we draw the game. Cool, we could have lost the game, but Fred did not help us draw that game. Oh, man. I could repeat myself, and I'm repeating myself a lot. But Solskjaer's got a lot right in his career as Manchester United manager. Right now with the midfield, he's getting it wrong. But so are the club. The club are not signing the player that we need. Saul Niguez has been available for a few months. Fucking go out and sign him. Why are you waiting until now? What is the point in waiting? Eduardo Camavinga is available for 20, 30 million. Why not go out and sign him? We've got the money for him. Don't try and say we don't have the money because we do. Neves would be the best out of the three signings, in my opinion, but we haven't really been properly linked with him. Again, weird because 30 to 40 million for a player of his experience and quality in the Premier League is fantastic. But we haven't really been linked with him either. It's just been a bit odd. And as I said, for me, it strikes me as that's all because of what's happening with Paul Pogba. And maybe United knew that Real Madrid were going to come in late in the window for Mbappe. And maybe they're trying to be playing. As I said, this is all a game of poker. Who's going to go first? Who's going to go all in first? United, we're sitting here waiting. We're waiting for a cheap deal for either Niguez or Camavinga. Neves, not so much. I don't think Neves is really going to happen anymore. I really would love it to, but I might have to put that to bed. My Neves dreams are dead. Help me. Anyway, let me go back down to the comments and see what you're saying in the comments. Jake, how you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. Make sure you subscribed if you're new. In my opinion, Van der Beek has had enough chances in the team and hasn't been good enough. I don't think there's any more to it than that. Well, that's probably a controversial opinion there. You let me know whether you agree with Jake in the comments below. But I would personally, Jake, I disagree with you there. I think when you have a player like Donny van der Beek, who you give so little game time to, it's really unfair to expect him to come straight into that team and play 9 out of 10 straight away. Players don't do that. Footballers are form machines. When they're playing good, they're playing great, and the confidence comes and it builds. In every game, they get better and better. But when you drop a player in and out and you give him hardly any game time, that when he does finally come on, everybody's looking at and scrutinizing. every single last thing he's doing, I think, is hyper-criticized, over-criticized, and therefore I think it's harsh to judge his performances and say whether it's a fair representation of how good Donny van der Beek is, because we saw at Ajax how good Donny van der Beek is. And that's why we were all excited about signing him. So, it's weird. It's again, it depends whether or not you think a player should just come in straight away and have an immediate impact on a 10 out of 10 performance. I don't think that's very fair on someone like Donny van der Beek, and I think he deserves more chances before we make that judgment. Katerina, how you doing? In the comments here, make sure you drop a like on the video. Why do you like Pogba so much? I mean, he's pretty inconsistent, and when he isn't in the mood for actually playing, he's invincible on the pitch. I like Paul Pogba because he's one of the best central midfielders in world football, and therefore you want those players in your team. I did a video back in November saying, look, now is the time to sell Paul Pogba. I think that's what I said, and therefore I changed my mind because I saw us sign Varane, I saw us sign Sancho. I thought, you know what, we're actually going for it here. And we saw Paul Pogba with France. So there's no point repeating the same conversations that we've always had all along with Paul Pogba, but I don't know whether he's going to stay or not. But that Mbappe situation scares me because you've now got Mbappe who could potentially go to Real Madrid, Pogba who could potentially go to PSG. Maybe that will give us a free run at Camavinga. Maybe that means Donny van der Beek's going to play more often further up the pitch if Pogba leaves. Maybe that means Camavinga is going to come in and play in a double pivot alongside Matic or Fred. So many things could happen. So many things could happen this last week at the window. It's mad, really. Comment here from Akshay. How you doing? Thank you very much for your comment, my friend. Camavinga is going to be another loan situation like Ahmed. He doesn't want to join United anyway. How about a duo of Neves and Van der Beek in place of Fred and McTominay? That gives us two good passes with Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, and Jadon Sancho. But actually, there's no chance in hell of signing Neves. And I mean, there is a chance of signing it, but there's absolutely zero chance of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer all of a sudden turning around and saying, goodbye, Fred, goodbye, McTominay, in you come, Neves, in you come, Van der Beek. That won't happen. That really won't happen. It is what it is. Something I really want to kind of quickly touch on. We don't have to talk about it too much if you don't want to. I kind of understand that. But this. Oh, actually, which reminds me, I've chosen to get the free. Who won it? What's his name? Charlie Dawn. Charlie Dawn over on Discord. Congratulations to you, my friend. You won the Old School Football red hoodie. I'm going to organize the address with you, my friend. And also, I need to do another giveaway because we reached 202,000. I'm like 500 subscribers behind now. So about 500 subscribers away from another goddamn giveaway. Mate, you're not at People's TV. It is all about the giveaways, isn't it? But make sure you keep your eye out. And I'll let you all know in the comments below as and when those giveaways are coming. But what do you think I should give away next? 500 subscribers away from the next giveaway. And I've got to do one for 202,000. So what should I be giving away? You let me know in the comments. Hey, big up to you, Chris. Big up to you, my man. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really good point as well. Honestly, thank you very much, Chris. What a guy. The problem is the board don't want to sell anyone because that player will have to be replaced with more money. The Glazers don't want to do that, and we all know it. There is a business, not a football club. They have proved it over and over again. Look, right, I can't disagree with you there, Chris, because what we've seen here, what we've seen with Varane and we've seen with Sancho, we looked at that as fans and we said, right, that is either Manchester United turning things around under the Glazers. We're now spending money. We're going to go after it. This is it. This is when we're going to come back as a football club. Or it was the Glazers appeasing Manchester United fans after the protests, after we broke into Old Trafford, and just appeasing it by bringing two signings in so the protests kind of died down a little bit. And all we can see now is that is the case. Because otherwise we would have gone out and signed that defensive midfielder. Neves was available for 30, 40 million. Boom, bring him in. Would massively improve our midfield straight away. Camavinga, 30 million. We know he's available. Boom, bring him in. He'd improve our central midfield. Saul Niguez, he's been available all summer. As Laurie Whitwell said, we've been scouting him. Well, we scouted him back in not Fergie days, Moyes days. But we didn't go after him just yet. So, mate, Chris, big up. Thank you very much for that comment, man. The biggest super chat we've had on the channel. So big up. Everyone say thanks to Chris for that. And it's really interesting point, because I completely agree with you, Chris. Right now, there's nothing that's telling me that Varane and Sancho weren't just a ploy from the Glazers to keep the protests down. Because if it wasn't, we'd be following it up. Because you can't have a defense that's on paper now. Our defense is like 8.5, 9 out of 10. On paper, our attack is what? 8.5 out of 10 with the players that we've got in those two areas of the pitch. Our midfield is what? Like a 6 or a 7? Nah, 6.5. Be generous, give it 6.5. Therefore, it doesn't match up. You can't be brilliant at the front and brilliant at the back and have nothing in the middle. Big polo we are as a football club. Just nothing in the middle by comparison of the quality that we've got both going forward and in defence. Let me head back down to the comments here. As I said, one more time, thank you very much for that, Chris. And it's a really interesting conversation and debate. But speaking of interesting conversations and debate, you let me know what you think about this, ladies and gents. Coming out from L'Equipe last night, they're saying that Ronaldo's trying to engineer a move to City. Don't shoot the messenger. L'Equipe report that Ronaldo is seeking to engineer a move to City in a deal that will depend on whether or not they go after Harry Kane. Do you think there is any chance that Ronaldo goes to City? You let me know what you think in the comments. I'll let you know what I think after. And I'll pull up a quick video here that I put out yesterday. It wasn't actually me that put it out. It's just I found it. Let's have a quick look at this. Now, remember, of course, Ronaldo, he was a slave at one point at United, wasn't he? An absolute slave. But do you think there's any chance that he goes? Because he said this back in the day. Let me get this up. Let me pause it there. Let me get nice and full screen for you. Let me get some volume up in here.
City, they have more money to spend on big players. Is it possible that one day, if they gave you the right offer, you could play for them, or out of respect for United?
You think the money going to change my mind now with 13 years old? I don't think so. I think this is not going to be the problem. Because if you will speak about the money, I will go to Qatar. Maybe probably have more money than Manchester City, but it's not about the money. It's about the passion.
City, they have more money to spend.
Right. So he said that, what was it, 5 years ago now? So do you think there's any chance that opinion has changed from Cristiano Ronaldo? Do you think there's any chance that he could go to Manchester City? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll go down here and I'll see what you think. Lone Wanderer, how you doing, my friend? Haven't seen you this morning. Ronaldo City, liar. United will always be in my heart. Fuck off. Now, I didn't say he's actually going City. I'm saying, do you believe these stories that Ronaldo himself is trying to engineer a move? Takeoff, you're saying, no way this is happening. Colin, you're saying, nah, no chance. Let's have a look. See what else you're saying. I always find it strange in the comments how people try and make things up. Like, I'm going to call you up on this one, my friend. I apologize. I'm not going to apologize, actually. Ronaldo City done. Fab just tweeted. He didn't just tweet, mate. He didn't. So what are you making it up for? You're saying, Anna, you're saying no way. Jordan, you're saying definitely won't go City. Alan, you're saying no. Let's have a look here. Sandy, how you doing? I'll see you, Sandy. Ronaldo, if he even thinks about going to City, his status as a GOAT will go down the drain. Just like I have lost respect for Messi. Messi, that whole situation. But anyway, I personally do not think that Ronaldo will follow in Peter Schmeichel's footsteps and taint his whole Manchester United career, which was a great legacy, simply by going to City for 1 or 2 years. I don't think he will. I might end up with egg on my face here, but I don't think I will. I think there's no chance, really, that Ronaldo goes to City. And maybe this is just me hoping more than anything, but I just can't see it. What I would like to see is Mbappe going to Real Madrid and then Ronaldo going PSG, just for the enjoyment of watching Ronaldo, Neymar, and Messi in the same team together. I really would love that. Jordan, you're saying he's too loyal to Fergie. Dennis, you're saying no chance his blood is red. Mr. X, you disagree. You're saying he's a snake. I mean, he's not snaked anything yet, has he? We want him at United, says Seth. All right, that's another question. You let me know in the comments. You type in yes or type in no right now. Would you take Ronaldo back? this summer? I know we keep asking it, but he's clearly available. Would you take him back right now, or would that just be going against everything we're doing as a football club in terms of our long-term signings? Do you think re-signing Ronaldo would be a bad idea, or is it a sort of thing he could come in? Hell, if you think that Harry Kane's going to score 20 goals in the Premier League, how many goals is Cristiano Ronaldo going to score? Obviously, a lot of you are going to comment on this, and this is why I did it. Right. You've got Josh, you're saying no. Bernard, no. John, you're disagreeing. Colin, you're saying no. Anarchy, yes. Corey, yes. David Cameron, what are you doing here, mate? You're too busy being a crap politician. You're saying no. Katerina, not really. Yes. Yes. No. Yes. Yes. It's hilarious, man. That's why I like having these conversations, because there really are so many. Look, just look at all the names that are popping up over on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, drop a like on the video. If you're watching on YouTube, drop a like on the video. You're all involved. You're all commenting. Cavani signing's no different, says Bazzi. But there's a huge split there. So many of you would love to take him. Maybe that's just the romantics inside you that you would take Ronaldo back at the club. And there's so many of you that are saying, you're shitting me. You're kidding me. There's absolutely no chance that I would take Ronaldo back at the club. I don't know where I'd stand. My head is saying, absolutely no way. What are you doing? If we're going to go and spend 500 grand a week on wages, go and spend that on Saul Niguez. Go and spend that on Ruben Neves, spending that money that you would spend on Ronaldo, bring in 2 central midfielders, and all of a sudden the money is spent better than it would be for Cristiano Ronaldo. But it is Cristiano Ronaldo. So can you really ignore that? Comment here. Super chat flew in at the start, which just before you all started going crazy about Ronaldo, from my man, or how you doing? Quick recap, please. Just got home from work. Have to make my money for the super chat. That's true, actually. You got to go back to work, mate. Ronaldo will not join City. Fergie will design him. A quick recap for you, my friend, is we ran through, obviously, as you saw the stories there, we had a discussion about Mbappe and Real Madrid and how it could start that domino effect of transfers that could happen at the same time at United. But this was the main part of the story here, is that Manchester United, we do want a central defensive midfielder, whatever you want to call it. It's just a central midfielder. We want one. But the transfer window closes on the 31st of August, and several sources say United's business is done unless sales can be made. I don't understand why Brandon Williams going on loan, Axel Tuanzebe going on loan, Andreas Pereira is going on loan. I don't know why that hasn't changed the landscape of that already, but apparently not. I personally think that I still think United will get a central midfielder by the end of the summer, or, as I said to everyone there, but I think we're playing a very, very dangerous game of poker with everything that's going on with Camavinga. I think we're waiting out with Ren, trying to get a cheaper price. I think with Niguez, again, we're trying to get cheaper at something. It's just a bit weird. We're playing a game of poker. I still think it's going to be that United sign one, but I don't know who and I don't know when. Rego, how you doing, my friend? Saying, hi, Sam. Off topic. Do you think that our goalkeeper position is a problem compared to other clubs? Not at all, Rego. I think Manchester United are spoiled for choice. Manchester United have got David De Gea, who's still he's kind of lost his world-class edge, but he's still one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And we've got Dean Henderson, who I think will grow into one of the best goalkeepers in the world. We're spoiled for choice. We've got 2 top-level goalkeepers there, and any club in world football would love to have that situation. But let me go back down to the comments here. Sandy, come back, Ron. We'll give you a biryani and chicken tikka treat to everyone in this channel, including you, Sam. Good vibes, good vibes. I like chicken biryani, and I love chicken tikka. So big up to that. That is a great suggestion. I don't really think, though, that Ronaldo's going to come back. As I said, I think, in my opinion, if we could sign Ronaldo, hypothetically, if Manchester United could sign Ronaldo, I would much rather see our football club spending that money smartly on 2 central midfielders, because Ronaldo's going to cost what? 30 million? Roughly. He roughly costs 30 million. And his wages would be probably in the region of £500,000 to £600,000 a week. Hypothetically, let's say we had that money to spend. 30 million gets you Camavinga. 35 million gets you Neves. And 500 grand in wages gets you both Saul Niguez on loan for a season and Neves or Camavinga. And I would much rather see that would make a bigger impact at Manchester United than signing Cristiano Ronaldo would. That's my opinion. I would rather see United spend that money smartly on 2 central midfielders than on one old Cristiano Ronaldo, who clearly would come in and probably score between 20 and 30 goals, and it would be Ronaldo coming back, and it will be fantastic. But in terms of that, would be the sort of signing that Ed Woodward would make, and we'd all sort of point your fingers at him, going, "You're an idiot." My opinion there. Cantona to United. Fabrizio just tweeted, "Oh, great news. Thank you, Josh, mate. Wicked. I can't wait to see Cantona." What is he now? 47? Can't wait to see him. But look, we've got another 5 minutes here. Keep firing in your questions. Not just your comments, but your questions that you'd like me to answer. Any super chats, fire those in too. If you do want to join as a member, hit that join button down below on YouTube. Cheaper than the price of a pint, and all the money's only going back into the channel to make it bigger and better. If you're on Facebook, there's a link in the description of this video, and also there's a link in the description of this video, and there's plenty of you on there too. So make sure you join in and get involved. What we need is a new coach, period. Oh, geez, too many comments coming in. Okay, Cabosa. Very nice. Colin, you're saying Neves has always been my CDM for United. Look, I've made Neves last year. I said Neves would be a great signing, and I've not changed that. It's just the fact that it's got even stronger my feelings about him at United, and everything I'm seeing. Everything we saw against Southampton, I'm like, mate, if you drop Ruben Neves in there, our problems, they don't disappear, but they're certainly better. Nathan saying, surely shirt sales and Ronaldo alone would pay for some of that transfer fee back. The big myth that we have to bust here about shirt sales, Nathan, is that Manchester United get about, 10% of the shirt sale? Adidas have already paid for all of that. They get the overwhelming majority of the money from shirt sales, and Man United get between like 10 and 15%. So even if we sold £100 million worth of shirts with Ronaldo's name on the back of it, we get about 10 to 15. So that's not really a thing that's massively taken into account with signings. One quick thing I would say now, make sure you drop a like on the video, people. We've been here for nearly an hour now talking. Drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, get involved. But let me head down to the comments one more time here. I want to say one more time as well, big shout out to you, Chris, for that super chat. Excellent point you're making there about the Glazers, about how what we're seeing now is that they've proved it's a business, and they've got 1 week now. Manchester United have got 1 week, 6 days, in fact, to prove to fans that signing Varane and signing Sancho wasn't anything more than a PR stunt first and foremost. That they were signings that were made by the club to appease the protest, to appease the fans, because we've done 2/3 of the job. And the third part of the job is the single thing I've said all summer long. The most important signing that United need to make is a central midfielder. And we're now sat here 6 days and everyone's saying it. And we all knew it anyway. But the problems against Southampton exacerbated the issues. And maybe that might work in United's favour. Look, if we had gone out and blasted Southampton, maybe there would be no chance of United signing a midfielder. Maybe it's just the way the world works. I don't know. Let's go down here and see that in the comments. You're back to your best, Sam. Yeah, big up. Thank you very much. I'm feeling good now, actually. Look, my throat. Oh, I can sing. Yesterday, as I said, I sounded like a Poundland Barry White yesterday. Other merch says Alien 10 call it's other merch, but I don't really, it's not going to be that sort of thinking is not the reason that Manchester United should be signing a player. If you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, you can bring him in because he's going to make loads of shirt sales and loads of merch is going to be sold. Or you're going to bring in, for the same amount of money and the same amount of wages, you're going to bring in 2 central midfielders to fix a massive problem inside the squad. What's the best signing for United? It's obvious that it's not Ronaldo. It's obvious that it will be 2 central midfielders rather than him in terms of the combined wage and fee. Imran, you're saying get rid of Fred and Matic and get in Neves and Ndidi. Problem solved. Look, that would be problem solved. But unfortunately, we are not playing Football Manager. And therefore, it's not going to happen. I like to think that, look, if United wanted Ndidi, they went out and signed Soumaire, who, if I'm correct, is a sort of a similar style, not exactly the same style of player as Ndidi, but operates in a similar sort of part of the pitch. If we wanted Ndidi, 50, 60 million, we could have signed Ndidi this summer. But that would have been a lot of money, and I don't think we would have signed Varane and Sancho for that. It's odd. It's so odd. But Chris, you're spot on, man. I keep going back to it. It's an excellent comment. It's just 6 days for United to prove to me that this Glazer thing isn't just another PR stunt. 6 days for Manchester United to truly show to me that Manchester United want to win the Premier League this year, because the opportunity is there. The opportunity is there. Chelsea look good, and then maybe they're going to sign Saul Niguez. Liverpool look far better because they got Van Dijk back in. Of course, they're going to look better. Spurs being Spurs. City lost against Spurs. Funny that. But they look great against Norwich. They got Jack Grealish. They'll be good this year. United have the opportunity to build on what we had last year, to then add Varane and Sancho in. Much better defense, much better attack. But you can't be a polo as a football club. You can't have a massive hole in the middle. You can't. It's not. Every time you see it on, I don't know, you're watching United on Super Sunday and Roy Keane's talking about it. Oh, the game's won and lost in midfield. The game really truly is won and lost in midfield, because the midfield is where you control the tempo. If you've got a great midfield, they can decide how fast attacks are created. They can decide when the game needs to be slowed down. The midfield is where you can turn it from 1 to 100 on the football pitch. And if you've got a great midfield, you can decide throughout the entire 90 minutes how fast that game moves. If you want to slow it down, you crank it back to 10. If you want to speed it up, you crank it up to 100. What Man United cannot do right now is control the game through the midfield. Therefore, we have to get the ball as fast as possible from our defense to Bruno Fernandes, as fast as possible from our defense to Paul Pogba. We don't have a Roy Keane and a Paul Scholes to pass it to in front of the defense, who can then just knock it around. That's the issue. That is the issue that Manchester United have. We've had for so long, and we've corrected the issues of no partner for Harry Maguire. We've corrected the issue of not having a right wing attack whatsoever. We've got great balance there in both areas, and then just no balance in midfield whatsoever. Whether that's McTominay, whether that's Fred, whether that's Matic, whether that's the ghost of Donny van der Beek, whether that's Paul Pogba playing in a double pivot where he shouldn't play. It's an issue. It's such an issue for United, and we need to sort that out. Will it be Niguez? Will it be Neves? Will it be Camavinga? I'm still staying firm that I think one of those is going to come in. I think our delays are all down to money. It's all down to the fact that I think if we're going to try and sign Camavinga, we want it for cheaper than Ren are willing to accept at the moment. If we're going to sign, I don't think we're going to sign Neves. I basically think you can probably rule any move out for Neves now. What do you think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think there's any chance of us signing Neves at all in these last 6 days? Or do you think it's sort of dead and buried? You let me know in the comments. And the more comments you keep firing in, the longer this stream will go on, ladies and gents. If the conversation's good, I won't be going anywhere. Brazil? I'm going to call you Brazil. Assuming we need to sell before we buy, and Lingard being the only realistic asset to sell right now, what is the minimum asking price? Look, I think if you've got Kurt Zouma going to West Ham from Chelsea for £30 million, I think Jesse Lingard is worth that. Cool, he might only have 1 year left on his deal, but Jesse Lingard is English from Manchester United's academy, Premier League proven. There's certain taxes that get added on to players like that. The Man United always have to pay. So when someone wants to sign someone like that from us, you're damn right that we're going to add those fees on. But let me see whether you think that Neves could happen at all. Neves' ship has sailed. He is great. Richard, I agree, is great, but I don't think that's going to happen. Phillips all the way. Calvin Phillips says Carol over on Facebook. Make sure you drop a like on the video, Carol. I don't think there's any chance of Cal. Well, we haven't been linked with him, so there's definitely not any chance there. Bringing Neves, says Sandy. Chris, you thinking it's done? Colin, you think there might still be a chance? I hope so. I really, really hope so. But I'll be honest, I don't think so. But look, on Sunday, which is the last game before a little international break, we're going to watch Ruben Neves in action. And if he puts up a masterclass against us, I'm going to be fuming. Absolutely fuming. But we'll see, eh? We'll see on Sunday how good, because we're going to be playing up against Wolves, who play with a 4-2-3-1. They play in a bit my tongue there. They play in a disciplined shape. And that's the sort of teams we struggle against. And Wolves know our weaknesses. It's not very hard. Not very hard. Alan, you're saying Lingard and cash for Rice. Heard it here first. Look, if that was going to happen, my friend, it would have happened by now. We would already have Rice in our team. That is not going to happen this summer. I think West Ham have basically priced Rice out of a move this summer. And I think he'll go next summer, probably for the region of like 60-ish million. But I tell you what, cracking stream today, if I do say so myself. Big up to Chris for the big super chat, and big up to everybody. Imran, Alien, everybody who's all sent your super chats in. It makes a big difference to the channel. It really does. As I keep repeating, the money's only going back into the channel. Might be doing a video later on today, one of my short editor videos on Donny van der Beek, the curious case of Donny van der Beek. I also want to take a look at how Niguez could actually fit into Manchester United. So I want to see how the transfer develops over the next 24, 48 hours. And if it goes far enough, on Thursday, I'm going to drop a video on Niguez and how he would fit in at Manchester United. But look, everyone have a cracking day. What day is it? Wednesday. Let's see what happens. We've got 6 days left. Probably expect me to come on later on for another impromptu transfer show because things are going to move fast in the next few days. I hope they move fast in Niguez, Neves, or Camavinga. I think we'll still sign one midfielder. I don't know who, but it's going to be tight, and I would not be surprised if it ended on transfer deadline day. So big up to everyone. Have a great day. I might speak to you later on. If not, I'll do it in a separate. I might see you later on. Anybody, thank you all for joining in. If you want to tweet me with ideas for a giveaway at @SamPeoples_, I've got to do a giveaway for 202,000 and we're heading towards 203,000. So I need ideas for 2 giveaways. Big up to, who was it that won it today? What was his name? Charlie Daunt. Big up to you on Discord, my friend. Well done. You won the Old School Football hoodie. Woo! Cracking show. Thank you very much for joining, ladies and gents. And I will see you later on. Oh, look at that. Colin. I can't leave now. Colin, what are you throwing that in for at the end, my friend? Big up to you. OnlyFans Sam. I'll tell you what, OnlyFans. I would have millions of subscribers if I was on OnlyFans. My God, the content you'd see on there. Not safe for work. That's all I'm saying. Big up to you for that, Colin, by the way. And I'll try and give you a shout out next time because it's an empty comment, my friend. But honestly, have a cracking day, everybody. And I will see you later on. Colin, I won't forget about that super chat. Don't you worry about that, my friend.